Hi, and welcome to Fierce Females Focus with Kurt Johansson and me, myself, and I, Big Fem Vader, Ayesha Raymond. We will be talking about everything to do with fierce females here. Here at Fierce Females Focus, we'll be reviewing and having a general chit chat on everything fierce females. Kurt?
No, really excited. Again, thank you for the opportunity. When you mentioned something you wanted to do, we was both like, yeah, we'll give it a try. Again, this is the first ever episode that we're doing, so we're just gonna do what we're best and just wing it. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the fantastic shows that's coming up and bringing you all the fierce females news coming forward. And let's kickstart that off. Your fantastic artwork, which I'll pop up on the screen right about here, with the new shows going forward into 2021. Of course, the pandemic's ruined this year for professional wrestling, but 2021 is going to be exciting, especially for fierce females.
Yeah, I mean, that took me all of 2 hours. I'm a little bit proud of that. But we finally got together and we established our code of conduct. We've established the policies to do with fierce females that we have going here forward. We've also established my new home, my new baby, my new pride and joy, which will be called the Fierce Females Dojo. The school will be up and running from October onwards. More information will be passed on through Instagram, Facebook, and the Fierce Females website, and variously throughout myself, Vader, Tony, and Sammy throughout the coming months. So I would love to see you all at the Fierce Females Dojo. Not only that, he did save my artwork. So if you check out the Fierce Females website and everybody's Twitter, you can see the next coming dates for 2021, starting at February in the grand old classic Grand in Glasgow. We've moved back into the city centre. I'm so happy.
Yeah, with the dojo, that's really exciting. Whilst we've got you though, why is the dojo name? Is that you're going to incorporate the style from Japan in teaching your students? What can they expect if they're going to be taught under Big Femme Vader herself?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Japan was what set me free as a wrestler. I mean, I was British trained. I'd been training to be a professional wrestler since I was a teenager. But when I stepped foot in a Japanese dojo, I felt at home. And the morals, the lessons, and everything they installed in me from my various trips to Japan just kind of helped me build and grow to the person that I am today. And I'd like to install that in everybody else. And I know everybody sees... watch Gaia Girls, please watch it, but don't be afraid by it. The lessons that those girls learned are installed in them today. I mean, they are all good-hearted and strong. I mean, one of the people featured in Gaia Girls is Miyako Sasamura, so don't be afraid of the dojo.
Yeah, you don't get much better than that. And again, with the dates, at the Classic Grand, we've got Sunday 7th of February. Following that, Sunday the 4th of April. We've got Sunday the 6th of June, Sunday the 1st of August, Sunday the 3rd of October, and finally Sunday the 5th of December. The show names will be revealed obviously in coming weeks, coming months to try and get ready for 2021. But in the meantime, myself, Ayesha Raymond, we're here trying to give you this fierce females focus show. Going to be reviewing some of the old stuff and just talking all things fierce females. Hope you enjoy. So here we are for the first episode of Fierce Females Focus, and we're reviewing We Want to Bookings You. So as we're watching this, myself and Aisha, we've just watched part one. Now we're going to give our thoughts on it. But I need to ask, so We Want to Bookings You. Leanne Marie, Cherry Fox, they didn't want to give the voice that you all do when you get those messages. Tell us a bit about the show name and do that voice.
The thing is, I can't do the voice. I'm one of those people who they were talking about who have never heard the impression of the voice, but I can hear the voice in my head. But I've gotten those messages constantly, and the guy, bless him or not bless his heart, made us money and named our show for us. He predominantly messages every female wrestler on our roster and probably around the world, and he's got a
So it's
promotion.
just one singular person.
It's just one person. Well, I've only known one person, and he messages women all around the world, and he's got a promotion that he wants to bookings us for. So I want to wait for my bookings.
I think I know who it's on about now, because I'm sure I ended up jumping in on one when he started commenting on Lucia Lee's post and was trying to get Lucia Lee one of the bookings. So try the voice. Go on, give us your best.
Is it? I want to bookings you. I want all the bookings. I have many matches for you to be bookings from. Please come to my promotion. I have many bookings for you. This is a paragraph I have in mind. I was actually just reading one of mine.
I don't know what.
I know. The thing is, Vader is a genius anyway. The fact that it was then called the name of the show, it just made us all feel better out of something that became quite annoying after a while.
Yeah, I can only imagine that. But something that probably does get annoying for you as well later in this show. But we'll kickstart things off with Kwaku was speaking to Emily Hayden and Amy Allonsy, doing like a therapist scene. Like, what's your thoughts on Toasty, the infamous Toasty? That's the most over inanimate object that in British wrestling.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that basically Toasty is the most over person in British wrestling of 2020. He should actually be in the Hall of Fame. It's true. I actually might make a Hall of Fame, just give him a slammy of some
With
kind.
Toasty.
But my thoughts, it's a toaster that's assaulted me on numerous occasions, and for some reason my best friend thinks it's okay that she feels the need to have conversations with this toaster. I'm sure you guys have seen my daydream of murdering this toaster, so you should know what my thoughts are.
Well, it came to an abrupt end anyways, and it's so weird. You're here all smiley whilst we record, and then I'm watching the screen and you're just an absolute monster and just start throwing Amy across the room and just start brawling out and try and spray her with soda.
Well, unfortunately for Amy, she caught me just coming back from Japan. So I'm just in the mood of just throwing around little people all the time and catching them. So that's her own fault. And then again, I just came back from Japan, so I migrated to the bar as per usual. But it didn't work.
Now, we'll get to your match shortly, but what was it like just watching your match back and having to review? We're going to have to review one of your own matches.
I don't know. It's really weird. I'm sure everyone's seen that interview that Roddy Piper did a very long time ago, and he has that line of "I can't watch myself back." That's what happens when I see myself on stage. It's like I can't watch that. But I feel bad. Like that's basically assault. I should see someone. I really should speak to someone. I genuinely think I should speak to someone.
No, definitely. But first match of the show, we saw Sarah Marie Taylor make her return to These Females after a hiatus. For those of you that don't know, 16-year vet in the industry, and she was facing one of the new upstarts in Hannah Taylor. What was your thoughts on that match?
I mean, it was nice to see Sarah Marie Taylor back. I mean, again, this Taylor versus Taylor was the match, but I remember Sarah Marie Taylor when I first started out in British wrestling, there were probably like 7 of us, and Sarah was one of the 7. And then to see this match, it gave me a chance after a very long time to see Sarah as Sarah standalone, because I don't know if anybody remembers Sarah was part of a tag team. The Gamma Dream was the tag team, Carmel Jacobs was their tag partner.
Yeah.
And I've never seen too many instances of Sarah having singles matches, so it was nice to see, especially after so long.
Yeah, definitely. And that ringmaster's outfit is just absolutely like outstanding.
I've
Like,
told her one day she's gonna lose that jacket.
I just wanted to start performing like the Greatest Showman in it.
No, I know. Oh, well, one day. You never know. I have the book in my hands. It might happen.
I'm just picturing you like stealing that jacket and you just backstage just singing "This is the Greatest Show," just spinning around in your ringmaster's jacket.
And then suddenly I get a kick to the face by Sarah. Yeah, that's exactly what will happen.
But yeah, again, she was against Hannah Taylor. Obviously, Hannah recently made her debut at Avenging Angels. Again, for those of you that don't know, she trained out of Liverpool with Fighting Spirit under Zach Gibson and James Drake of the Grizzled Young Vets. Really enjoyed it. Like the contrast, you've got that somewhat broody veteran that doesn't give a fuck and just starts flipping off all the crowd. But then you've got Hannah, she's just full of energy and she's everywhere, here, there, and everywhere across the ring, just dancing around. And she's only a couple of years in. Like, what do you see for Hannah's future?
Oh, no, I literally, the only thing I'd like to see more is her play to the crowd just a little bit more. But everything that she was doing was everything that they wanted because you could hear the crowd that were behind her. But I just felt that there was a moment that they just wanted her to turn to them and go, "I'm here," but just to acknowledge them a little bit more. But just the fire that she was showing, especially against Sarah, and Sarah was so good at playing that kind of old school heel.
Yeah.
The contrast just worked very well. It was that archetypal good versus evil, and it was just really clear and easy to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the reactions to the crowds, again, she only made a debut Avenging Angels. So I can see the more she gets familiar with the Scottish crowd, and I think that may come a little bit more natural. But yeah, Sarah was so dominant through it. Her forearm on the top rope was brutal before. It was like I don't know what you'd even call it, like the reverse DDT, flips over and spikes Hannah Taylor's head. What would you call that? You're the pro here.
I call it death.
I was like, yeah, that looks good, and the Taylor twist as well. I said it right. So when I was watching, I was like, I'm gonna end up calling it Taylor Swift. I was like, I am, but no, I got it right.
Did it? You can get a
The,
thumbs up.
the Taylor twist. So what was your thoughts on obviously the ending, Sarah with the big kick to Hannah Taylor's head? What's your thoughts on them two going forward in these females?
I'd like to see the match again, to be honest. I mean, the established established products was there, and it is there. You could see Sarah as being the big dominant force, and you see Hannah as being the what I always describe as is the flippy dippy doo dah girl. She is the plucky in from my generation, the Aaron Angel baby face, the big baby face for everyone to get around. And I think that one more match between them, I think, or if a few, would at least establish a really good storyline. I'd like to see it again, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely for the first time back, and again, great to see Sarah Marie Taylor back in the ring, back in the fierce female ring as well. After that, you see the champ Giselle Shaw. She's turning up, just booting people out of the seats, telling them that's mine. Winning that title's definitely gone to her head.
I know. I mean, I'd love to do that, but every time I do that, people call me aggressive and mean and horrible. She gets a belt, and people are happy about it. This is wrong. But it'd be interesting, especially the landscape of how Fierce Females is today. I want to see who goes up against Giselle. I want to know who goes up next. I want to
Yeah.
know who kills the bully.
No, definitely. And again, the main event of this show against Chantal Jordan, which was a fantastic match. But speaking of the next match, again, you said you hated critiquing yourself. So I might just even let you, like, hey, everybody, welcome Ayesha Raymond critiquing Ayesha Raymond. Like,
Oh
take it away.
no! I crush a little person for about 5 minutes. It's not fair. But Ayesha Raymond versus Amy Allonsy, Big Fem Vader versus the Unicorn Girl. Backstory of this match: I got dropped into some kind of love triangle with a toaster and my friend and Amy. My friend being Emily Hayden, and Amy apparently have this fascination with this toaster, and now it's my problem too. I just came back from Japan, and this is apparently now a problem.
Well, it's only fitting. Like Leanne and Cherry Fox, they open the show on about that. In Fierce Females, they like to pair up, and here you are with a toaster. And
I'm like, why? That was not my choice.
it's just fate. You can't fight fate. Like you and the toaster's destined to go at it forever.
We are not destined to be together. Do you not look at Twitter? We are not friends. I'm talking about a toaster. I am actually having this conversation. But yes, I mean, the match itself, for me, I don't know if you'd like to review. I'll tell you what my thoughts were. I like facing.
You're scary, dude. I'm not saying anything about
No,
this match.
you have to be honest. This is the whole point of it, and you're like a good 60 miles away. You'll be fine. But the match for me was, I love doing those types of matches where it's a clear definition between the baby face and the heel. Even the size advantage works for me. It's good. But Amy is just like, her resilience, her plucky fightiness, it does get irritating after a while. But you know, I love working her. I loved working her, and that match for me was like, it was one of my favorites, and it still will be one of my favorites.
I did really enjoy it. It was that typical the monster, just brutal, like the babyface just getting brutalized, thrown around the arena. Poor girl. Getting thrown about, slammed about, and again, like props on the suplex as well. That the fisherman suplex in the bridge, that was very impressive. And then the poor referee, when he wasn't counting, and you got very mad. And I was like, oh, she's gonna kill the referee now. That's not going to be good.
Well, the fisherman suplex, you can thank Arisa Nakajima for that. The moment I met Arisa, I watched Arisa, but throughout all Joshi wrestling, I wanted to learn how to bridge like her, and I thank you, Arisa.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, how do you feel? Like you said it yourself, for 5 minutes you're just destroying poor Amy Allonsy until she drops you with a fair masser right on Thirsty. Like again, love-hate relationship.
The thing is, again, I've been brought into a situation that clearly has nothing to do with me. I have no beef with Amy, but for some reason she decides to attack me with a toaster. That's when it gets personal. I'm fine until you attack me. Emily can handle herself. She doesn't really need me. She's okay when she eventually gets her job back. I can't help with that either. I wasn't here when she got fired, so that's not even my issue right now.
So how's the face?
It's healing slowly. I've had to wear less and less makeup every day, and my insurance wasn't affected too much. My nose is still perfect.
Oh, no. Great to hear. So yeah, Amy Allonsy picking up the win because Aisha has a serious denial problem with a toaster, and yeah, that got Amy her first win in Fierce Female, and again, big Femme Vader losing to a toaster. So before I get in trouble, like, so Rhio,
I'll just sit here and cry. It's fine.
Rhio turns up with Gia Adams ahead of her match with Little Miss Roxy, which again, this match was fantastic. But before we get to that match, we also started with Tonga. She was backstage, insulting her opponent as she's bringing her up some food, and then she's like, "Oh no, you're the makeup artist." What's your thoughts on Tonga being in Fierce Females?
I as a personal reason, it's just nice to see more people like me. But I think she's amazing. Like, she is the type of character that I try to tap into for myself for a very long time. For a very, very long time, in my personal opinion, anybody of color or people of color have always been portrayed to be quite aggressive. And I just think her character is a breath of fresh air. She kind of is, she's a spin on a black female in British wrestling that's not an aggressive monster or is just not a powerhouse. She is the archetypal, like, diva that you never really get to see in someone of color.
Yeah, I get a huge fan, and again, her opponent that was doing trying to do the introduction before being offended in Myla Grace. Again, these two are so good, and they are going to be like the future of women's wrestling. Well, even the present, they are. And the match again later in the show was fantastic, and I think that's why it's an important thing for those of you, especially if you've been to the live show. Make sure you subscribe to These Females on Demand, because it's all the little bits that it's happening backstage that you're not getting to see. For example, with one of the matches between Rhio and Little Miss Roxy, you have the commentary team be surprised with Gia Adams, but we've just seen that in the video package, and I like the fact that you see so many shows that they put random matches on and there's no story being told, but instantly Myla Grace is annoyed with Tonga because of the disrespect. So it's putting those layers on, so when they're working the match, it's putting the little puzzle pieces together. And is that something that you're a fan of, like making sure you're doing those backstage stuff and not just keeping it in ring?
Oh no, that's one of the things that makes me love Fierce Females more than most things. It's the creative stuff backstage and the creative stuff that's involved, not only just with the wrestling. I mean, if you continue watching, you see there's loads of segments with myself, Emily, and Toasty that kind of link the story in more. And it's just not only the wrestling. I mean, as performers, we're also performers, air quotes. So it's not just the wrestling side that we have to focus on, it's the story as well, which we give you in the video on demand. Subscribe.
No, definitely. And again, if you're not subscribed already, and this will be on the YouTube, have a look in the description. It will be on there as well and all over our social medias. But match 3, we had the debuting Lucia Lee that doesn't really like Scotland. Her first time being in Scotland, she was building up that she really, really wants to go home, and then it turns out home was Coventry. So
I felt terrible. I live in Scotland now, and I heard it. I was like, "Oh, I feel that hurt me, and I'm not even Scottish." But yes, she wanted to go back to Coventry. And I'm sorry, anybody from Coventry. I'm from London, so I can say it. She wanted to go back to Coventry. Jesse, don't kill me.
She was against now 1/4 of the Fierce Females management team in sparkling Sammie Jo, and again, really enjoyed this match. You knew who the fan favorite was with Sammie, and then you've got Lucia Lee, who for a debut got the crowd to not like her very quickly. And I thought she does that really moody teenager, like that moody brat where it's just going to constantly annoy you and keep going on. I think she does that character really well. Whereas Sammie was like the more experienced, as if like the mother hen, and then all of a sudden she just gets annoyed and just starts bitch slapping.
That's what I saw the entire match as basically your mum going, "No, don't do that, sit down."
Yeah.
But what I personally enjoyed was the story that they were trying to tell from the fact that of the head scissors. Like that to me, like that's what stood out the most. It was trying to tell that story of the experience versus the inexperience and who can do it better. And when you watch the match, you see all the festivities.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I don't know what Lucy's obsession with Apple Lucid is. Like, I'm just here with the original one, but
I know. I was gonna say, as a fellow Englishman,
yeah, yeah, I kind of don't know the obsession with it, but she's even named her move after it, and that was brilliant. By the way, the like, what was it? The Apple Lucid DDT, where it was like the inverted DDT with the splits over. I was impressed with that, and again, she's somebody still so young. As we're recording today, it is her 18th birthday. Like,
don't you make me cry? What was I doing on my 18th birthday?
I just saw your face go from smiling to.
Again, you're doing this because you're very far.
But no, I've got to say, like, again, Sammie, she's just so happy, and it's like it's infectious, and I can see, like, everybody says a lot of the time the character you playing in the ring is you just dialed up 1000, and I can imagine that's what she is like as a person, and that's why she's brought onto the management team. And that Fibonacci submission to finish, that was impressive as hell.
I know. Even I was marking out. I was like, wait. When did you do moves? When did that happen? But it was, yeah.
Like that bridge gives you a run for your money.
Don't say that. She'll probably come out of retirement. Don't say that. But there's a thing. I mean, everyone needs to watch this match. I mean, we've reviewed it. You can buy it online. It's Sammy Jane. You could call it her retirement match. This was her last match before her official retirement, before she became part of the management team. So it was just nice to see again. It was.
Yeah, and she's gone out with a win. So that again is brilliant, and she put Lucia over brilliantly. Where again, I can see Lucia coming back into these females in the future. She made a good account of herself, and again, if you're not too familiar with her, especially if you are watching as female fans, try and check out some of the work that she's done in England. Like she's had a series of matches with Chantal Jordan across various different companies, and they've been great. That's how I first came across her, and to see she's skyrocketing, and again 18. Ridiculous.
Damn the youth.
But moving on to match 4, it was the match that I mentioned earlier. It's Rhio with Gia Adams against Little Miss Roxy. And for me, this was probably technically the most sound match so far on the show. I thought these two did a fantastic job. What was your thought on it?
I loved it, and I have a personal love for matches with managers because that's how I started off wrestling. So even though Gia couldn't be a part of the match, however, she suffered an injury. She's rehabbing injury at the moment during that match. It was just nice to see how they incorporated the manager with the actual techniques of the match. My only pet peeve and my pet peeve for every manager match, I'm just like, dear God, turn the ref every time. But that's just me. But yeah.
make sure the ref's facing. And again, with Rhio and Gia together, like again in the show, we see the tag team division essentially being built in for these females, and them two will be a force to be reckoned with. But going forward, like again, you had the strength side of Rhio, but you had the quickness, the technical side. Obviously, Little Miss Roxy loves a good submission, and was working that really well throughout the match. And it came across as if Little Miss Roxy was going to get the win until, like you mentioned, the incorporation of a manager. And it was Gia's interference on the side, which led to Rhio getting that win, and with the dreaded end in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I personally always enjoy wrestling Little Miss Roxy. She's so bendy, but the way that she applies moves and the way that she actually incorporates that with her gymnastics and with her acrobatics, like it's not been done in a while where people have been able to stylize wrestling. And I think out of a lot of women that do kind of incorporate the style, she is one of the ones that do it the best. And I literally love seeing her wrestle.
Yeah, and I can see where she could potentially come back after the match. Gia and Rhio, insult to injury, start attacking her on the outside. And again, that is a match that I would like to see again because I thought they did a fantastic job on that. And then to close off part 2 of the Can We Bookings You? I can't help but laugh at that now, especially because it's ingrained in my head where as you was explaining it.
I could have sent you the screenshot, so you have a little bit more.
I believe I actually messaged Lucia originally, and I was like, "Be careful with that guy. He seems sketchy as hell." Because again, she was just starting out. She's like, "Yeah, like send me the info." I was like, "Don't think you really want the info on this."
No, there is no information. It's a promotion that wants to bookings you. That's all.
Can I bookings you? But speaking of Lucia, it does go back to her, and again with the character development, with those segments backstage, saying it was an illegal submission because she couldn't move her arms, so therefore she couldn't tap. So how has she lost the match? And again, I just think she uses that like spoiled bratty child, like where she's just no, I didn't do that, and constantly, yeah. But I think she did a fantastic job. And then again, going into part 3, we have again Chantal Jordan doing her promo ahead of her match with Giselle, and Pretty Little Killers we've got Ruby Radley and Ivy against Angels of the Night in Angel Hayes and Rosie Knight.
Mm-hmm. That was part 1 and part 2 of Fierce Females. We Want Bookings You. I hope I did the voice right.
Everything that we've spoken about, you can check it out. Fierce Females on demand. Currently got a special offer on 50% off for new subscribers using the code TRYFIERCE50. This code may, by the time you're watching, it may have ended, but keep checking out the social medias for all the new promotional offers that we do have for Fierce Females on demand.